প্রিয় দর্শক, বিরতির পর আবার এডুকেশন আওয়ারে আমরা কথা বলছি। আমাদের টপিক, আজকের টপিক এডুকেশন, ওয়ার্ল্ড অফ ওয়ার্ক 2020। এই গত সপ্তাহে স্কুলে যেটা আমরা আমাদের বাচ্চারা, পিপলরা প্রাইমারি সেকেন্ডারি স্কুলে যে বিভিন্ন প্রফেশন, বিভিন্ন ক্যারিয়ার, ফিউচার প্রফেশন দেখার জন্য বিভিন্ন জায়গায় কিন্তু তারা ভিজিট করেছে। পাশাপাশি স্কুলে ইনভাইট করে আনা হয়েছে বিভিন্ন ধরনের প্রফেশনাল লোক। সেখানে ডাক্তার, ইঞ্জিনিয়ার বলেন, সলিসিটার বলেন, ব্যারিস্টার বলেন, অ্যাকাউন্ট্যান্ট বলেন, বিজনেসম্যান বলেন, ব্যাংকার্স বলেন, এবং বিভিন্ন ধরনের, যেমন ইভেন ফায়ার ফাইটার, দ্য পুলিশ অফিসার্স, বিভিন্ন ধরনের প্রফেশনকে দাওয়াত করা হয়েছে বিভিন্ন স্কুলে। এবং এট দ্য সেম টাইম স্টুডেন্টরা কিন্তু বিভিন্ন কোম্পানিতে, বিভিন্ন ইনস্টিটিউশনে, বিভিন্ন কোম্পানিতে বেড়াতে গিয়েছে দেখার জন্য তারা কী ধরনের কাজ করে। এটা দেওয়ার কারণটা হলো ভেরি ইয়াং এজ হতে বাচ্চারা জানবে যে তারা যে পড়ালেখা করতেছে, সাম স্টুডেন্টস মে বি ভেরি গুড ইন ম্যাথমেটিক্স, দে ক্যান এক্সপ্লোর দেয়ার ক্যারিয়ার্স ইনটু এ ফিল্ড হোয়ার ম্যাথমেটিক্স ইজ এসেনশিয়াল এরিয়া। যেমন অ্যাকাউন্টেন্সি হতে পারে, সেটা কেউ হয়তো আর্টে ভালো হলে সেটা হয়তো বা গ্যালারিতে গেলে সেখানে হয়তো বা বিকাম অ্যান আর্টিস্ট অর সামথিং টু ইন্সপায়ার দেম। অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম ইংলিশ লিটারেচার যারা করতেছে ভালো, তারা হয়তো একটা অন্য একটা ইনস্টিটিউশনে হয়তো কাজ করবে, সেখানে হয়তো বা ইংলিশ ইজ দ্য মেইন সর্ট অফ এরিয়া অফ প্রফেশন। তো এই যে বিষয়গুলা, এটা কিন্তু আমরা ইয়াং এজ থেকে বাচ্চাদেরকে দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করি। তো আমরা কথা বলতেছি ওয়ার্ল্ড অফ ওয়ার্ক উইক নিয়ে। আমাদের সাথে চারজন অতিথি। অন মাই ফার রাইট, ডক্টর শারমিন শাহজাহান, হেড অফ প্রোগ্রাম, উইমেন্স হেলথ সার্ভিস, ওয়েলকাম ব্যাক। Ashid Ali on my right, London Enterprise Academy, the principal of London Enterprise Academy, welcome back. Ashid bhai. On my left, Tasmia Tahia, a civil servant and a community activist, I will say, and worker. Yeah, and on my far left, Nabila Rafiq, solicitor and a jurist. Yeah, so welcome back, Nabila. Amra kotha boltesilam, we have been talking about your success stories of I would say success and struggle. Nabila, if I come to you, about yourself, you are a solicitor now, you are a practicing solicitor. At the same time, you are giving advice in different fields of human rights and other areas. So we'd like to hear from you about your career. Why did you choose this particular area of profession, number one? And number two, whether, I mean, something you don't want to mention, don't mention. Struggles, some successes, and maybe how do you feel now about yourself?
Thank you, Basit bhai. I thought of being a lawyer when I took up law in my A-levels, and I was inspired by family members. And but to finally choose it as a career, that was not until before I started my university. And my first struggle was actually convincing my father, who was a doctor, and my mother is also a doctor.
Doctor, solicitor, they don't like each other.
They will not have it, especially my father. He wanted me to be a doctor because he had his practical reasons. He thought because he is a doctor, it'll be easier for me to network, to get an understanding of the medical profession. But I was such a feisty teenager and rebellious. I was like, no, I will be a lawyer. So anyhow, but throughout my educational career, he was the man behind me.
Great.
And though he didn't support me first, he supported me till I finished.
Maybe he had his own logic to give about.
He saw I was doing well. He saw that I'm becoming a very confident young person through my profession, and he appreciated that. And I think at the end of the day, parents want their children to be happy. So once they understand it, they come around.
Yes.
Come around. But for me, that was quite a process. So as I said that not my parents are not lawyers, and actually there are no lawyers in my family. So the profession.
So you are kind of great role model for extended family and family as well.
Yes, so for my family, there being no lawyers, it was everything I had to find myself, all the learning, all the professional networking. And once I started working, I first trained as a barrister, and then I went back to Bangladesh and became an advocate there. And I started my pupillage in Bangladesh under a senior advocate and barrister Amirul Islam and his daughter Tanya Amir, and they became my role models, and they really grilled me the first year with all different kinds of law. They threw family law at me, criminal law at me, civil law at me, and corporate and company and business law at me. And after a first 1 year of grueling pupillage, I found out that I really liked the business and corporate and company law. And then I came back to UK to do my master's, and I thought I really want to pursue a legal career here, and then I stayed on. So as a lawyer of Bangladesh, when Bangladesh the lawyers are called advocates, I applied for a practicing license as a solicitor here. So this entire journey of being a barrister, then an advocate, then a solicitor.
So you have so many branches.
I really had to find all that and by myself, and it was a very explorative adventure. And if I look back now, I think that I'm very grateful for all the people who have been there with me. You know, my peers, my colleagues, my family members. Despite not being lawyers, they were very supportive. And more than anybody, my clients. I think I would not have been half the lawyer I am without the clients that came with me asking for their help. And as unfortunate as it is, that through their misery and pain, it was my gain in terms of knowledge and in terms of building my professional skills. But I think I'm very happy that I'm able to help persons who are actually in need of support and advice, and to be able to do that and to be able to represent them in court. When I win a case now, and my clients are jumping up and down, they're calling family members, they got their order, they got their judgment, and I don't think, or they got their job back, or they got, they were unfairly dismissed, and they have vindicated themselves by getting on record that their employer was unfair with them. When my clients get that, and to see that amazement and that happiness in their face, I'm in a very good place with my.
That's great to hear. That's something you haven't mentioned. Your husband, who is a barrister or solicitor
yes,
as well,
yes.
isn't
My
he?
husband is the second man who has always been supporting me.
Same profession.
Yes, and I think it's very important for female lawyers to have a very supportive partners. I think females play a very different, multifaceted role. They're a mother, they're a sister, they're a friend, they are a daughter, and without the help of their other half, without a very supportive partners, it's impossible to pull through.
Absolutely.
And hats off to all the husbands and partners who help their wives, and I'm very grateful to my husband as well.
We'll talk more. Dr. Shamin Shahjahan, would like to hear your story, and something you want to share, you do share, something you don't want to share, because some of the stories I know what you have been doing in the community as well as your own profession.
Well, I'll start from the beginning. I did voluntary work as a youth worker, then I got trained as a youth worker in Tower Hamlets from Mulberry School, and alongside youth work I pursued my studies and part-time work. Along that journey, youth work actually exposed me to different types of profession that I can go to. My parents wanted me to become a doctor, medical doctor. I applied for it. I did voluntary work at the Royal London Hospital. I soon found out that is not the profession I want to go in, because I cannot operate without sleep. I cannot stand blood. I faint by the side of it. So that was practically not a profession for me, although it's a noble profession, and my parents wanted me to become a doctor. I then soon realized that actually there are other professions that you can do, and these, the careers fair, like the fairs that you go to. And while I was at college, Tower Hamlets College, they took us to different universities for residentials, overnight stay for a week. Right. That was very inspirational to see people staying in corridor, in like the whole campus atmosphere. That was inspirational, for me to know actually we're living at home, we can live away from home, and we can study anything we want to. Nowadays, anything that takes your interest, from media to journalism, from anything, art, anything that you want to study, you can study, performing arts, anything. So I then realized medicine is not the only way you can help people health-wise. You can go into pharmaceuticals. So I studied pharmacology for my degree. And then I soon realized I cannot test animals. That was clearly not my profession. So you can see how many I changed my career. I was working part-time, but alongside to choose what I'm going to do after my degree. Then I realized actually with my social work, I'm a very social person, very people-oriented person, and I want to do something, not stuck in a lab, which I did in my work experience for a year before I did my final year degree in pharmacology. That's not for me. I want to do something that I can interact with people. So I then realized public health is the area for me. So I went into community health research, tobacco chewing prevalence study in Tower Hamlets, which is then I became a commissioner of those services, like the stop smoking service in Tower Hamlets. So life is not without struggles. We all have struggles in our lives.
Yes.
It's how we manage it and what support network we have around us. That is really important. Either parents, partners, children, they're all very, if they support you, then you can go ahead. Otherwise, it's just that solo, person struggling to go forward. I did my PhD with 2 little children, 3-year-old and a 3-month-old. So at the same time, I had a very high-profile job in public health. But my parents were superb. My family, they helped, and my mother-in-law as well. She used to travel from Hampshire every week to look after my son.
Every week?
Every week, once a week. So, I mean, I was the fortunate one to have that, support network, my family support. But at the same time, when you become a mum and juggling your career and your children, I have always put my children first. I've worked around my children's school run. So I think the struggles of that for a woman is that you become, you're multifaceted. As you said, we have multiple roles. Being a mom, being a wife, being a daughter, we have to fulfill all those roles. And I have seen that from my mum. And I learned that, it is possible. She is hardworking and I can work hard and get there. But it's very important to look after ourselves as well and be self-aware that, struggles will be there all through our life. How we manage it is very important.
And then when you can see the successes, then you just feel that yes, this is the happiest moment.
And now I'm working at at an organization called Women's Health and Family Services, where actually you talk about becoming something, but get that experience. Not everybody's got had experience or education. If you're out of work, get back into volunteering. Do get some experiences, get some training, and then become something. So I manage a maternity mates program where we train local women. And it's accredited training who can support women, vulnerable women in our community, who doesn't have anybody while they're pregnant, before birth, during birth, and after birth. So it's really important that I feel at the end of the day that I get a job satisfaction that actually I'm making a difference. My work, my organization's making a difference in women's life. Excellent. And it's women empowerment, the whole organization's ethos. So I go to sleep thinking, I've done, a worthwhile job making a difference in women's life. So that's my inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shabin Shahjan. Tasmiyata here. We had 3 stories, struggles as well. I mean, obviously you have been doing so many things at this young age. Go ahead with you can talk about your profession and also something you have been doing for the last many years.
Okay, so well, my story, I think your viewers would have been part of my story in many ways, because you guys have seen me grow up from being in doing my GCSEs, doing my A-levels, and then all the way now to doing my actual job. So in between all of that, I was also doing a lot of voluntary work, and like Sharmin Auntie said, and also like everyone else said here, I have personally found that so empowering and so important to be able to have those skills that I gained from doing all the different voluntary work that I've been doing. So whether it's drama, something you'd think, oh, what professional skills do you get out of that? Actually, you learn so much about being confident, being able to work in a team, taking that kind of quiet leadership and so forth. And having all of that experience, when I kind of started applying for jobs, I think the biggest thing that was important for me was being resilient. And again, like Auntie said, I personally, when I was growing up, I was one of those kids who used to look at Canary Wharf and think, yeah, I'm totally going to go in there and have a banker's job. And I did economics, so again, my whole kind of focus was, yes, I'm going to go in there, make loads of money, have that kind of banker job. And then as I was doing my community work, I realized actually my values aren't driven by the money. It's more being able to help people, support people, and really feeling that kind of making that impact in people's lives or in the kind of wider society. So then when I applied for public service, if you like, so a civil service job, I think I just felt that this was somewhere where I could make that impact in people's lives, and like in the time that I've been in my workplace, it is a bigger machinery, of course, that you wouldn't be making impact in the very first, that you're not going to change the world. But at the same time, when I see the deals that come through, and I see the kind of like big projects that we get through, and you see the different projects that you've been part of going through the chain, you really do feel that sense of satisfaction, that feeling that, you know, I've contributed to something that's doing wider good.
That's very good. And, you know, very nice to hear that. And something I very much like, you know, you looked at Canary Wharf, then you say, yes, I would like to do this, and then you change your direction straight away. I'm a community person. I can do something for the, you know, all four of you. I mean, you have been talking great stories. Something we'd like to talk about, because World of Work, we talk about how do people get to this profession. Say, for example, you are currently working in an institution, you are the head of, and you are the head of as well. You are a public servant, you are the solicitor, you are looking after. So we'd like to hear that. If someone wants to explore to that particular profession, like your profession, what do they have to do? We'd like to hear this story. And also, we've got something, the gaps in profession in Bangladeshi community. Because I know we have got doctors, but some of the areas, there is a big gap within the community. Say, for example, someone mentioned earlier in my program, art, media, those sort of areas, music, you know.
And also science, I think.
Science, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Our research, you know, our people are. There are many doctors now. It's very good. Solicitors, barristers, accountants, public servants, politicians. Still, you know, great. But there are some areas, or you know, mainstream businessmen and women, and also less women still. But before that, I would like to come to you, Rashid Ali. I would like to hear about your school, Lotto Enterprise Academy. It's a great school. So how is school now? I mean, how is it doing?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, it's good. We got our first set of GCSEs last summer, and you know, on more or less all the data that the DFE published, we're above national average, which is really good. So English, maths, biology, chemistry, physics, RE, we're above national average. There's 7 to 9 grades, which are the top grades, which is A and A star. That was above national average. So I'm really pleased. There are areas that I need to work on. You know, obviously with all organizations, we will not sit comfortably unless we add a vision in terms of where we're going to go. So I'm really delighted with the support that we got from the community of Tower Hamlets and the surrounding area.
How many students are there in the school now?
The site is very small, so we are now on 440 students.
That's a lot.
It's a small site.
You started off with 120 students?
We are starting with 94, yes.
94 only.
And
now
I've got 85 staff.
Yes, but you need to probably hire another or get another building.
I'm looking for opportunities to secure additional site, but land in London is premium. So finding something.
But obviously, when you have more demand from the community, from students coming to see, if there are more students are waiting in the waiting list, then obviously, you know, it's a kind of duty for you to look for more.
No, of course,
spaces.
of course. It's really important that we build on this 1 year. 1 year is not enough for us to show that we've got the credibility of a good and better school. We need to make sure, although our GCSE results for that year is very good, we need to be able to sustain that. And at this current rate, you know, recruiting and retaining teachers is very hard. It's not just a London issue, it's a national issue.
Yes.
And it's important that we maintain and keep hold of the good quality teachers that we have who will deliver the results in the years to come.
Dr. Shamin, what are the gaps in our community, like amongst your sort of observation?
Well, I think our children should be exposed to different types of professions. So if somebody, you know, we have, for example, I've got 2 teenagers, and my daughter, she's a sports girl. If she wants to go to sports and play football, fine. If she wants to do any other sports, that's fine as well.
Great.
If she wants to go into apprenticeships, that's fine as well. You know, we don't always have to aspire to academic qualification. There are apprenticeships that you talked about. There are, you know, other practical jobs that anyone can do, and you get a qualification out of it. But that practical experience is important. Not everybody's got an academic mind. You also need to think of that. There are other professions one can go, like TV production, like film production. One can become, you know, if their mind works about how things work behind the camera, they can go into it. My son,
Here you have been directing.
Yeah. So, for example, my son, he's a linguist. He's studying A-levels, Spanish and French. He wanted to become a teacher. Actually, he then learned, he enjoys the film production side of it because he was exposed to that film, international film. So now he wants to study film and media and TV production.
Right.
So that's the beauty of it, that you don't have to. I changed my career, my
Can I just
study.
stop? We'll go to
Yeah,
break.
yeah, yeah,
After break,
sure.
we'll continue to the last segment. We'll talk about the gaps and
Yeah.
see any kind of good tips for our young people.
Sure.
প্রিয় দর্শক, আমরা কথা বলছি ওয়ার্ল্ড অফ ওয়ার্ক। এই সপ্তাহে কথা বলতেছি আমরা বিশেষ টপিক নিয়ে। আমাদের চারজন অতিথি, আমাদের একটা ছোট্ট বিরতি, যথা বিরতির পর আবারও দেখা হচ্ছে। আমাদের সাথেই থাকবেন।